Have you guys ever heard of polyvagal theory? Do you know what it is? I know what poly means, like if you put sexual after it, or gummy. I know polygamy, but what's the vagal? I say we talk to an expert and see if we can't become polyvagatites ourselves. Does that sound fun? Let's see. You are listening to ADHD Big Brother, the podcast for adults struggling with their ADHD, their comorbid depression, their anxiety. Oh, it's just a hoot. I'm your host and your ADHD Big Brother, Russ Jones. I've got ADHD too. I've got depression as well. It's crap-tastic. So let's learn some stuff. Let's laugh at some stuff. Let's make some commitments to do some stuff. And ladies and gentlemen, here's some stuff. Hi, welcome to the podcast. I'm your immature host, Russ Jones. I think immaturity gets kind of a bad rap. We are on this planet for a short amount of time. Why are we taking it seriously? Why aren't we having more fun with it? It is what keeps my head in the game, is the ability to not take this game seriously. Who's with me? If you guys are somehow able to hear the word polyvagal and not think the most ridiculously immature statements, then I say, what's wrong with you? There, I said it. We are interview heavy this month, and I really love the opportunity that I get to, in this podcast, to talk to the experts, to learn a thing or two about a thing or two. Before we get into it today, let us do the mental health report. Squank, squank, squank. The mental health report. Oh, God. Okay. In an effort to normalize talking about our skull spaghettis, this is the good, the bad, and the weird. I'm going to crack open my cranium. I'm going to expose myself to you. That sounds grosser than it actually is. All right, I need you guys to hold some space for me. While I jimmy open my hood, I need you to hold it. Hold the goddamn space. Are you holding it? Okay, good. My mental health statement. Here we go. If you were my psychiatrist, this is what I would say to you. I am fluctuating throughout the day. I feel like I'm on the verge of coming out of what has been a longer than enjoyable depressive episode. I also hate the word episode. I don't like saying that. Maybe we could change that to be like, my depression has been flaring up. I've been having a flare up. How this looks is that when I'm alone, I'm sort of apathetic and there's a hopelessness. But when I'm with others, I'm upbeat. I'm glad to be there. You'd never know my alone time if you judged it based on how I presented in my time with people. So that's why I really do think it's helpful for people to know that, a depresso might sneak it past you. And we're going to talk about this more in some upcoming episodes. I really kind of want to dig into the depression side of things a bit. We'll do that in the future. But for right now, this is me. This is my skull spaghetti. And I've actually been doing the stuff that Justin talks about in this episode, and I'm finding it super helpful. So high five to Justin. So let's get into the conversation. I met Justin Sunseri through the Circle community. He's a fellow community builder. And here's his bio. This is according to his website. He's a therapist, he's a coach, he's obsessed with the polyvagal theory. This makes him the perfect person to talk to on the subject. Excellent. He's dedicated to mental health and trauma recovery. Since 2007, he's worked with individuals, couples, families, helping them overcome trauma, substance use, relationship issues, self-harm, and more. He's also an author of the Stuck Not Broken book series, as well as running the Stuck Not Broken community. I'm grateful that I got a chance to meet Justin, and now you get a chance to listen to his polyvagtastic knowledge. So let us go now to my conversation with Justin Sunseri, already in progress. You are a polyvagist, as they
polyvagist. I love that. Yeah,
a practicer of the art of polyvagary, and I would just love to understand it on a deeper level, because I have some questions. Can you, I don't know anything about it. I'm a brand new person. I just walked in to your office, and I want to know, what is polyvagal theory? What is it?
Let's do it. And I am happy to be here, though, Russ. I appreciate you inviting me on. Besides that, polyvagal theory. You mentioned last week there was someone that came on that talked about various therapeutic modalities.
Yeah.
Polyvagal theory is not a therapeutic modality. It
Okay.
is, there's no prescription to it. It's not telling you exactly how to live. It's not telling the therapist how to behave. I mean, there's definitely recommendations, I think, and stuff we can pull from it, but that's important to understand is it's not a modality. So I'm a therapist, but I'm not like practicing the polyvagal theory modality. So it's the science that lies underneath.
Oh,
It
okay.
helps us understand
Great.
the biology, our autonomic nervous system. So it's good for the therapist to know. I think it's really good to know. And it helps us understand what's happening in the client in the moment. But and I'll talk more in details, but
Okay.
it's helping us understand what's happening to the client or what's happening within them in the moment in their autonomic nervous system, the state of their body. But it's also giving us an idea of what to expect next as they come out of something like depression.
Hmm.
We can kind of predict what's going to happen next. And so we can track in their biology how self-regulated they are. So
Oh,
it's
wow.
biological. It's like, you know, it's something we can observe. They can self-report. This is how I feel. We're not typically therapists are not going to like track heart rate and whatnot, but there's things we can do to track kind of where they're at and keep an eye on it and to identify how self-regulated someone is and identify over time their body's really self-regulated. It's building self-regulation. So it's the science of it. Like that's the idea.
Gotcha.
That's how therapists can
How
use it. Okay.
can I ask a question about that then?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because so I'm fascinated about it personally,
Yeah.
because of my, I don't quote unquote journey in with
Got the
depression,
journey.
but my my
Yeah.
slog through the swamp of sadness as Artax. You just said something that really got me interested. That there's a predictive mechanism
Yeah.
in there of.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Can you
And
talk about
so
that?
I'm not trying to hype my own stuff at all, but like
Do it.
what I created was I call it the unstucking pathway, where
Okay.
someone learns the polyvagal theory. But the next thing to do that I would recommend is building someone's safety state. And we need to talk about all these pieces.
Okay.
But once you build up your body's safety activation, it's the ventral vagal pathways. Once those are built up enough, and you can tell because you'll have less distress tolerance will grow. You'll have less reactivity. Like there's things you'll have more
Really?
capacity. Yeah, you'll have more capacity to be mindful, to connect with others, to connect with your pets, to take in nature. Like there's more of a sense of connection that comes from having more safety activation in your body. But when that happens, when you have more safety we call it defensive activation, like shutdown, which would be more associated with depression, flight fight, which would be associated with anxiety and anger. Those things, they're still kind of there, but they start to calm down. But more in particular, and we haven't gone into the states yet, but more in particular, when someone comes out of depression, they'll start to feel, more connection and safety, which is good, but they'll also start to have more activation in their body, which will show up as irritation, irritability. So as someone comes out of depression, a lot of times they'll tell me, I was snapping at my spouse. I feel so terrible. But like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I'm just like, ugh, just like I have this sort of activation within me. And so what's happening is there's mobility coming back into the body, but it shows up as aggression. We got to go through each state so it makes sense.
Wow,
Okay.
we got to because
Yeah.
it's so funny because I would not resonate with that as I'm coming out of something. I would resonate with
It's a
that
good
as
sign.
like I feel shitty. I feel shitty in
Right.
this way now.
And you
That's
do.
so interesting.
Right. And so that's true. It's not a great feeling. And so they want to get rid of it. But it's actually a really good sign. Now, I'm not saying it's okay to snap at your spouse, and your kids, but like that
Can we
activation,
anyway? Can we
probably
though?
shouldn't. Probably maybe
Okay.
under your breath in the next room.
Okay.
But like
Okay.
as a therapist, when I hear that, I'm like, cool. Now we're on to the next step. Here we go. We just got to harness it. We got to point it in the right direction. It doesn't belong towards your kids. It belongs toward work or working out or a hobby or creativity. Like we got to direct that somewhere, and we want to continue it, but just we got to point it in the right direction. So we
This
got to
is
talk about
so
each we got to
yeah,
talk about
this
each
is
state for this to make more sense, though. Okay.
please.
All right. So the polyvagal theory, it's the biology. It explains that we have three different basic states, or all mammals, but also all organisms have basic biological autonomic states. The autonomic nervous system is the thing that takes care of you without you having to think about it. So
Okay.
pupil dilation, your breath, digestion, whatever your pancreas does.
It pancreatizes the
It
enzymes.
pancreatizes.
Yeah,
Whatever comes its way, it gets pancreatized.
I'm a doctor.
So the autonomic nervous system it takes care of all those things so that you can now watch Netflix or something. So maybe not you in particular, but in general.
Someone.
but it's everyone's like, yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
So we don't have to think about that. All that is run by the brainstem, tells the autonomic nervous system what to do. Okay. But there's three different basic states the body can be in. And the first one is the safety state. That's where we can socialize, we can laugh, we can hug, we can get close to somebody.
Can
Go
you
ahead.
explain safety a little bit more in detail?
Yeah,
That
so this
that
is how it
word.
shows up.
Okay, cool. Cool.
Yeah, so it's the ventral vagal pathways. When these pathways are active and strong enough, and they can strengthen, when these pathways are activated, you'll feel it because you can get close to someone. You feel appreciation and gratitude, like genuine appreciation, not forced journaling, but like genuine.
Okay.
You can like hug your spouse and say, "Hey, I appreciate you. I love you. I care about you." You can play with your kids without feeling like, I don't know, whatever. But all these behaviors come out on naturally when you're in your safety pathway. So when someone is in a depressed state, when they're angry, when they are feeling really panicky, they have significantly less activation in those safety pathways.
Oh,
And
okay.
so someone who's depressed, when you ask them to go play with their kids, they literally cannot do it in a very real way. It's not a choice. It's that in a very real way, cannot do it. When
Can
you
I
ask
just
them to put more effort into work, it's like, I don't have the focus. I don't have the thinking capacity, the executive functioning. I don't have the motivation. All of these things come from being in your safety state.
okay.
Okay. So when those biological pathways are active, your body optimizes its resources, and then it can do all these behavioral things that we would see, like hugging and laughing and all those things. Okay. All the
Okay.
connection pieces. So that's the safety state. So when someone is in danger, that safety state will deactivate, we'll call it. And I mean, these are very one-dimensional, cartoony terms, but like, well, I think
Okay.
just to help make sense of it. So when someone's um, in danger, let's say there's a tiger, I don't know, something like that, and they will lose access to their safety state, and their autonomic nervous system will shift into flight fight. But it's flight first and then fight. If you
Okay.
can't escape a situation, then you become aggressive. Okay. So in a tiger scenario, we're probably not going to be able to outrun it.
Mm.
And so we would shift into fight activation. We're probably not, we might throw things. We would use our upper body. Flight's all about lower body running away. Fight's all about upper body pushing, pulling, lifting, throwing, hitting, like all upper body kind of stuff. And think about this in like our day-to-day life. If someone goes to their job and they're in their safety state, la la la, but then there's like, oh, we're going to have layoffs. And so they might shift into flight activation and get really anxious, but they can't escape the situation. And
Yeah.
so eventually they might shift into like, damn it, this place sucks. How could they do this to us? And so they become aggressive.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's my layoff. That's exactly what went through
Oh, there
me.
you go.
Yeah.
But in a situation where we can't be safe, we can't run away, and we can't fight, the autonomic nervous system will shift into the last primary state, which is shutdown. Shutting down
Mm.
is collapsing. It's literally like in the wild with the tiger situation. If you and I were being attacked by a tiger, we can't run away, we can't fight, we would collapse and play dead. It's not a choice. Our bodies would just do it. It would pass out, in essence. We would defecate ourselves. It would smell terrible. But the tiger would
I do
see.
that when there aren't tigers chasing me.
That's right.
What the heck? I just pass out and shit myself all the time.
Oh, we can swear on the podcast. Okay. So the tiger would see two grown men defecating themselves laying on the ground and say,
Yeah.
these two are either idiots or dead, right?
Or both.
Or dead idiots who shit themselves. Yeah. So the tiger would see two corpses and it would smell it. It would see that we're limp. And in shutdown, our heart rate goes way down. Our breathing goes way down. It's very shallow. We would mimic
Yeah.
a corpse. This is the extreme version. So
Sure.
the tiger would mosey on and just go to it wouldn't because it would sense us as like toxic. I would assume like it would be disgusted, probably move on.
Yeah.
But it's a survival strategy our body has that's passed on over generations and whatnot.
And you're saying, and that's autonomic, meaning
Yeah,
we don't, it's
it's not a
not like,
choice.
okay, play
No,
dead, activate. It's
no,
like you pass out.
autonomic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's all about survival. We have our thinking, we have the words in our brain, but that our body is like primary. So we can't think our way through things that our body's like, no, this is going to happen. You're going to shut down.
Mhm.
We might think I can navigate the situation, But our brainstem's like, no, this is the time to pass out and shut ourselves.
No, we must shit ourselves. We
Yeah.
must. This is
It
going to have.
had, yeah.
What? I'm just visiting family. What is going on here?
These things can happen.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not that extreme, but yeah, we'll
Right.
shift. We will go through these shifts. So the tiger moseys on, and in real life, in that layoff situation, we might, get angry. We bitch with our like coworkers and how dare they do this to us. But eventually, we might just be like, oh man, just like drained, just the energy
Yeah.
sucked out of us.
Helpless,
So that
hopeless.
that's shutdown in real
Yeah.
life. But that's the day-to-day human version of shutdown.
Gotcha.
So that's the sequence. We move from safety to flight to fight and then to shutdown.
Okay.
For us humans, we get stuck. That's called trauma. We get stuck in flight or fight or shutdown or freeze. Freeze is the combination of flight or fight plus shutdown. It's the combination of like being revved up and ready to mobilize, flight, fight, but also the body's like, we need to shut down. It's both these pathways happening at the same time, sympathetic and dorsal vagal parasympathetic. And so that's called freeze. That's like having the your foot on the gas and the brake at the same time. Like the car just goes, but it doesn't go anywhere, right?
Yeah.
So that would show up as like panic or like explosive rage. It's just like boom, boom, you know.
Gotcha.
So the problem with humans is we get stuck. We traumatize ourselves, we traumatize others. We have all these layers of social things that like keep us stuck. Okay. That's called trauma. We get stuck in flight or fight or shutdown. So to come out of we can't just choose to be in our safety state. Our body can exist in a defensive state for years, decades. I work with people in my community who are getting on in their age in like 50s, 60s, 70s. And they're like stuck,
Yeah.
and so they're seeking out help. So we can remain stuck for decades. Now we can still have, meaningful relationships and we can still go to work, but might be there's just this underlying sense of like unsafety. Even though maybe we can go to work and still function, there's just this like hopeless, like, ugh, you know, or we can have our families, our spouses and our kids and play with our pets, but there's this underlying sense of like anxiousness, of like just not being settled, of just
Yeah.
like I'm always on or I'm always aggressive. And that's because there's some level of defensive activation that's just chronically kind of there, lingering in the system. I would call that trauma. We can call that stuckness in general.
Okay.
Okay, so we can get stuck in these defensive states. Now, let's bring this back to what I said earlier, which was the good sign of coming out of depression, having irritability. If you're stuck in shutdown, that to me, the polyvagal theory would say that that is the biological underpinnings of depression. So depression is not just like a chemical brain imbalance. It doesn't seem like it's not that simple. Polyvagal theory would say your brainstem is stuck in a shutdown state, even though maybe you can function, you can have families and stuff, but like there's this level of shutdown that is still kind of there, like predominantly maybe. And
Okay.
so it shows up as hopeless, helpless, low energy, no motivation, negative thinking. All these things follow your behaviors, your thoughts, your emotions. All these things come from the state of your body. Okay. So in shutdown, that's kind of the presentation. Day to day is just like, empty, drained, heavy, numb.
Yeah.
So once someone who's depressed, which is more shutdown, as the shutdown alleviates and energy comes back into the body, like flight fight activation, that's a good sign because it means you're coming out of shutdown.
Hmm.
Okay. But that's going to show up behaviorally as more aggressive or anxious. So our thoughts are going to be, they're out to get me, or our thoughts are going to be, this person's a jerk. How dare they? Okay. But
Yeah.
though that's a good sign, that means there's mobilization coming back into the system. That means there's less shutdown, a little bit more flight fight. That's it. So that's why when someone gets irritable, I know that from shutdown, the first thing that I expect is they're going to be more irritable because they have fight activation. They come up into
Okay.
fight activation. Go ahead.
Can I ask a question here?
Yes.
This is starting to get to, I can feel emotional response happening. So I'm like,
What are you
I
feeling?
need to ask a question here.
Okay.
This is news to me.
Yeah.
Right. The next step out of depression, being that irritability. Because I
Yeah.
was going to ask you, well, what does it mean if like during the day, I feel shut down, and during the night, I feel like I'm gonna have a panic attack.
Good question. Oh,
And I'm
interesting.
like,
Okay.
Jesus Christ, what is going on? It
Yeah.
feels like a bounce that's happening. It's
So
me.
that
Oh, go ahead, please.
that's called a what's that? I think it's called a cyclical defense loop. So the
Okay.
body, when it comes out of shutdown, mobilization comes back into the system. So think of this as the gas comes off I'm sorry, the foot comes off the brake a little bit. That would be shutdown. Comes off the brake, and the foot goes down on the gas a little bit. So we're still shut down, but there's some activation coming back in the system. The problem is that we're still shut down. And so as activation comes back, maybe like after work and now we're home and now we feel a little bit more safer. So the body's like, great, let's mobilize, let's get some energy back in the system because we have to re-regulate. We have to like get back to baseline. But the shutdown state's like, yeah, I'm not gonna let that happen quite yet. So the shutdown's still there. The flight fight's coming back in the system. And so as the flight fight comes back in the system, it shows up. It's like it's there, it's revving up, but the shutdown state saying you have to, I can't let you out. You're not coming out yet.
Oh my
And
God.
so it's like so it just kind of spins, and so
Yeah.
that would turn into panic, or for some people that could, as it releases, it could turn into like an underlying rage, which would explode, or it could feel like overwhelm. Stress might be a very mild version of this. Overwhelm would be like the gas is like let's go, let's go, let's
Oh
go, but the
man.
shutdown state saying I can't, you're not, it's not
Yeah.
happening.
So
So
interesting. So
yeah,
interesting. This is it's explaining a lot for me right now.
yeah. So the activation coming in the back of the system's a good sign, but the shutdown state just can't. It's not letting off. So we need the safety state to kind of bring it calms everything down.
Okay.
So the safety state, as we strengthen it, that's what allows our bodies to re-regulate and get back to a healthy baseline. Once the safety state is the absolute priority. As that strengthens, then the shutdown state will calm down. The foot will come off the brake more and more and more. So as the foot comes off the brake more and more and more, then mobilization comes back in the system more and more and more. But the safety state will say, hey, mobilization, I have a use for you. Let's get to work, or let's go play with our kids, or let's do a workout, or let's just kind of sit mindfully and meditate and feel all this activation coming back in the system,
Yeah.
which is possible. Let's just feel it and allow it to happen. So the safety state allows it, it like rolls out the red carpet and allows the body to self-regulate.
God, this is super interesting. And one of the things that I've been finding is yeah, I know that I've been in this low state for a while. Probably,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say a couple of weeks. I don't really know.
Yeah.
I'm not tracking it, but it's the I'm finding myself able to connect with people. Like I'm loving hanging out with my kids because it's making me
Okay.
feel good, right? And I'm loving hanging out with my girlfriend. It's like anytime I can not be alone is I'm like please, because as soon as I'm by myself, it's
Yeah.
like all the shit comes up.
So,
Um,
dude, one thing you're touching upon is there are things that in our context shift our state. Being with these few people shifts my state. It's called
yeah,
co-regulation. So that co-regulation with my girlfriend, with my kids, their smiles, their laughter, their hugs, holding hands, those things
playing video games.
help
I don't know,
play.
Justin.
Sure,
What kids are you talking? My,
dude.
mine are
My son and
smelly
I,
teenagers. They're like, I don't want to
yeah.
hold your hand, Dad. Maybe you're talking about toddlers.
I have a 16-year-old, and this morning I gave her a hug, and she's able to accept it. Like, yeah,
Oh
she
yeah.
wants her space, but like,
Oh
yeah, we
yeah.
still. My son and I, he just turned 10 yesterday, and we got or his uncle got him this awesome like D&D co-op board game, and we were playing for hours. A heck of fun.
Dude,
Yeah, but although
that's awesome.
that's called co-regulation. It's where you connect with another, or they give you cues of
Yeah.
safety. They're in a
I
safety
get
state.
hugs from Googie, which is great. And he's like in high school. And
Yeah, yeah,
and my older one as well. That stuff is awesome.
yeah.
Um,
So that's called co-regulation, and we can get it from our pets.
okay.
Animals give it to each other, or mammals. This is a mammal thing, but
Uh-huh.
it activates our safety state. Getting safety from another activates our safety state. When we're alone and that's removed from us, being alone for people is typically a trigger. At nighttime is typically it can be more of a trigger. It's not
Yeah.
always, but so there's pieces of the environment that can trigger more safety or less, more defense or less.
What do you recommend then in situations like that? So I'm gonna be alone. As soon as you and I get done here, I'm
Yeah.
by myself. I'm working, so at least I'm occupied. But it's what do you recommend for people
Yeah.
to find that safety state?
So the recommendation, the highest level, which is probably the hardest, and I'll give you another recommendation after that, okay? The hardest would be to feel your loneliness. The hardest would be to tell yourself, I feel lonely, and it makes sense why I feel lonely. I'm alone. But yeah, I don't like feeling lonely because I have a lot of feelings that are difficult for me. So just acknowledge it, normalize it. And the third thing would be
Yeah.
give yourself permission to feel that way. But that's hard. It's not easy. But that's a hard. I would say like just give yourself permission to feel it, and actually what you'll notice is it softens up and it'll go away. Once we pay attention to our feelings, they kind of go away on their own. They
Is there a
will.
recommendation on it? I actually really do love that. So the
Yeah,
idea of like it's not a fight to have. It's not like a you should be
exactly,
something else right now. The
exactly.
where I get stuck in the mud sometimes with this is the thoughts that come are so true in the moment, right? They feel true. Like you're
Mhm.
a piece of shit. That feel and I'm not up for that like convincing myself that it's not true
No,
because it's
yeah,
such a brain game. But I'm like,
yeah.
that's a tough one. I have to even though my way out of it. Like even though I'm a piece of shit, I'm going to do this work. But it's
I like that. Well, I like that a lot. If we also say, I do feel this way, I do feel this like slog, I do feel heavy, and just
gotcha.
like take a breath and let yourself feel it. And then if those thoughts pop into your brain, you can say to yourself, "Thoughts, I see you. I'm still going to get this thing done." The slog
Gotcha.
feeling, I feel you. I know what you need. I'm going to give you one breath, and we're just going to like sit here and quiet for a moment, and we're still going to get something done. But like that's not, it doesn't solve the depression. I know that.
Right.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
but the closer that we can get to just simply being with what's happening within us, the better. Because what you touched upon was I have this feeling, and then you use the word fight, and I'm fighting against it. That causes this friction. So
Yeah.
not only now do we have the shutdown, now we have the friction of fighting it. So that's two layers of shittiness. And on top of that, we have the thoughts in our brain, which is, I'm not going to think this way. So it's like there's like three layers of shittiness that we're dealing with,
Yeah.
plus whatever past stuff that we're not dealing with. This is how humans stay stuck. Okay. Wild animals do not get traumatized, they do not get stuck. Only we do, and our pets. Because wild animals, if they collapse and shut down and the predator leaves, they come out of shutdown, they get reactivated, and they go back to their herd or mammals.
They clean up the shit all over
It's
themselves. They're like,
let me wipe this off and get back
that
home.
was crazy. Did you guys see what just almost happened?
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
But so wild animals don't get they re-regulate. They don't get traumatized and they move on. They don't
That is
fight against their
so
feelings.
interesting.
They
Yeah.
feel what they feel and that's it. Humans, we feel something and we say, I should not feel this way. I should not think this way. And then we fight it. And now it's like just that next level of stuckness.
Boy,
So,
opens up a whole can of worms on like societal norms
oh
and
yeah,
what who we think we're supposed to
dude,
be. Holy
I
balls.
fundamentally believe we humans are doing everything wrong when it comes
Yeah.
to emotional mental health. I fundamentally I believe we're doing everything wrong, and the less that we do, the better. So if we and it's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy. I have people
Yeah.
that are like working on this for months, and even, I'm not
Yeah.
perfect. I work on this stuff still.
Yeah.
So the more safety we can have, the more likely that we're going to be able to just simply be with our feelings. And once you can simply be with them, your body will take care of it. Your body will
Yeah.
self-regulate, and it's like over time.
Dude,
It's a practice. It's a sustained practice.
this is the third episode in a row, by the way,
Yeah,
where mindfulness seems to be the order of the day.
it's huge.
It's
It's,
so
it's it's
funny.
not. I'm not talking about like I don't. If someone is struggling, if they're constantly panicking, I don't expect them to sit down and meditate. I'm not asking them to do that.
Right. But be
But
in the moment with the
as much as
now.
possible,
Yeah.
yeah. So if you can go for a walk, if that feels better for you, and still be in the moment, like and listen to the birds, and
Yeah.
smell the things, and listen, feel the air on your skin, that's a huge step forward. Now, if you can do that, the next level would be, can you feel the air on your face, and then notice how it affects your body? How do you feel when that happens? That's another level of mindfulness. So
Gotcha.
there's gradual steps. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. I don't expect someone to meditate and self-regulate all at once. That's a very difficult skill. But there's steps you can take. So that's the ideal. You asked, how do I deal with feeling alone? That's the ideal. It's not easy.
Be be alone. That's
Just let
basically
yourself be alone and feel it.
it.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
and your body will take care of you.
Can you talk a
The
bit about? Oh, sorry, you were going to say
well,
something.
the easier thing
Yeah.
is listen to okay, here's the second level. The second level would be, what does your body want to do? When I'm alone, I feel like, and maybe it's collapsing for 20 minutes in silence with my face on the floor and just breathing. Cool, do it. Or when I feel alone, I feel more like moving. I need to like walk. Okay, cool. Go walk while, listening to a work meeting or something. I don't know. But so like let yourself feel what you need to do and then do the thing. And that might help actually to self-regulate.
Man, that is such a hard. Just even hearing you say that, I'm like, you know what the battle is going to be there, is
Hmm.
sitting with my feelings and thinking, what should I be doing?
No,
What
so, yeah,
should I be
right.
doing with this?
So
That's going
that
to be
let's
so
change
fucking hard, right?
change the question though, and this is hard.
Go for it.
Change the question to what does my body want to do? Not what should I be doing?
Gotcha.
What does my body want to do?
That's
And
brilliant.
it's a
Okay.
practice. You have to learn how to like listen. And so when I feel like I just need to collapse, I give myself 10 minutes or so, but no phone. I'm not talking to anybody. I'm not doing work. I'm giving myself 10 minutes of like I just fall face first in my bed and I breathe in silence for about 10 minutes. And then my that's about enough for me. And then I can feel my body like is ready to push off the bed and like get back to doing my thing. So it's like you really got to
Okay.
it's a practice. Okay, so if you can't feel your feelings, if you can't identify what your body wants to do, the third recommendation would be to go to an environment that, like in your home, where we feel more safety than not. So in my office here in my home, I have things set up to where I like it. I like the lighting. I like the amount of space I have to walk around. I like the natural wooden desk in front of me. There's more of a sense of liking this
Yeah.
space.
Yeah.
So in this space, I'm more likely to be able to, especially with like the right music on, I'm more likely to get stuff done, even when I'm alone. So how can someone create a space in their home? I call it a passive safety environment, where there are things in the environment like smells or lighting, textures, just like a few things that like are giving you more passive safety cues than not. If you can do that, you're more likely to be able to feel okay in that moment. That would be like my at bottom level, like this is a must kind of thing.
Yeah. That's great.
Thanks.
You fixed me. You've actually no.
There's
This
a lot to it.
process, yeah, and y- I think the thing that is has been missing in I just throw the kitchen sink at everything sometimes because
Yeah.
I don't like being I don't even know
Right.
the word like a depressive
Yeah.
episode or whatever it is like feeling low mood because I know who I am when I am joyous and I'm out there wanting to hang out with friends and be funny and all that stuff
Feels good.
and it feels great
Sure.
and so
See,
it's the
this is the shift. This
digression
is
to get
a
there. Yeah.
huge shift in thinking though, because it's I think when you learn the polyvagal theory and you start to like identify these things within you, it becomes I know not it doesn't you said I know who I am when. Well, you're always you, obviously.
Yeah.
And so when I'm in a shutdown state, I'm still me. And it's like, how do I connect with me in this moment? How do I feel what I'm going through in this moment? And let my body self-regulate versus trying to get rid of the feeling.
Wow, there's a relief in that. There feels like a
There really
big
is.
relief in that in the permission to be that, I'd
Dude,
say.
that's the word. It's permitting. It's giving your
Yeah.
body permission to do what it has to self-regulate. The body will it has to. Our ideal state is to have more self-regulation because we will better utilize our oxygen and our food and our water and all the stuff we bring in. We're organisms. We are biological organisms. Our body has to self-regulate. It is compelled to. It wants to at all times. But when we say, I don't want to feel this way, we're not giving our body permission to self-regulate on an organismic level. When we distract ourselves by watching Netflix or binging on TikTok,
Yep.
instead of feeling our feelings, we're not giving our body permission to self-regulate. We are keeping it stuck, and it's super hard. I'm not saying it's easy.
Yeah.
We are because no one learns this. We're not learning this. Our parents didn't teach us this. Our religious institutions, our
Escapism is
schools.
the order of the day, man.
It's
Always.
exactly, yeah. How
Yeah.
do I feel better? How do I feel better? How do I feel better? Well,
Yeah.
the way out is through. I forgot who said that, but I think it's like a Buddhist thing. But it's
Through.
also Stoicism. Also, the way out is through. You have to be with the state of your body, and when you can do that, it will self-regulate, and then all of a sudden you'll have more capacity to be with friends and be creative and go exercise,
Yeah.
but not until you deal with and give yourself permission to feel the way you feel.
Totally. That's
Huge.
like the surfboard metaphor is the one that always thinks, you go through the wave.
Mm,
You don't try to go open over because you're just going to keep getting your ass kicked. So you
there
have to
you go.
go into it.
There you go.
Um,
That's it. Yeah.
yeah, this is good and meaty. I have a
There's
lot
a
of
lot here.
takeaways
Yeah.
from this.
Right
Um,
on.
okay, here's a question for you. So polyvagal theory, it's a theory, it's not a practice. It's not a therapy modality. So
No.
as a therapist, what is your thing? What do
Yeah.
you
Well, what's interesting, so it's a yeah, it's a science. It's the evidence-based science.
yeah.
What's interesting is the person who I'm not sure created or discovered, I'm not sure how to say it. He did, back in the 90s. He's still, doing this stuff and researching and whatnot. But he created this thing called the Safe and Sound Protocol. So
Okay.
there are certain sound frequencies that will activate the safety state, or the safety state will pick on and it like amplifies it.
What is that megahertz, please?
I don't know, but so he in the Safe and Sound Protocol, he took music like I think popular cultural music of various kinds, and I think they also created their own music. I did an interview with him and someone else about this,
Okay.
and he takes these musics and then like amplifies the safety aspect of it, like the vocal range, the sing-songy quality. Our voice
Okay.
can trigger safety, and so he amplified that. And when people listen to it, it triggers their safety state. So that is a direct application of the science of the polyvagal theory. So that there's
Okay.
that. Okay, so I'll put that out there.
Okay.
When a client comes in, I see them and they tell me what they're going through. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, their body's more of a shutdown state. And over time, as we meet, I track how much shutdown is there, how much safety do we have, how much
Oh,
mobilization is coming back in the system, the flight fight stuff. I prioritize the safety aspect of it. Homework that I give them or that we work on is a lot of times around safety. So that's how over time I'll track it and we really
yeah.
prioritize safety. But in the room, the way that I track the way the polyvagal stuff for me connects with very somatic, body-based mindfulness, meditative kind of approaches. So sometimes I'll flat out lead someone through a meditation using these various skills that I've kind of named and tracked or that I put in a sequence. Like before, I mentioned the skill of validating, which is just acknowledging how you feel,
Yeah.
normalizing, telling yourself you're normal, that anyone else in your life would feel the same way probably if they had your life. And then after that is giving it permission, but giving it permission is difficult. And so I work with clients on how to give permission to their feelings, how to feel them, how to balance it out with their safety state. And then on a more advanced level, there's this thing called pendulation, which is we feel our safety state on one side,
Uh-huh.
and then we allow defensive activation to be there. So we have safety, and then we allow ourselves to, in essence, feel depressed. Not we, but the client.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling on my own level through empathy, kind of what they're going through.
Uh-huh.
And so we have safety, we have defense or depression or
Uh-huh.
flight, fight, whatever. We'll say depression. We allow it to be there. We feel it, but in the body, where does this live in the body? Where does depression? So it usually comes down to like my body overall feels slumped. It feels heavy. It feels collapsed. My body wants to like fold forward. But sometimes, a lot of times, it's also I feel it in my stomach. It's cold. It's empty. I feel like a void there in the stomach is where a lot of times depression or shutdown lives. So we
Okay.
feel it. We just let it be there. And what's great is that when we have enough safety in our system and we feel that, the depression feeling is not depression anymore. It becomes simply the state of the body. And so the client can actually feel it and they're not depressed. They're not spiraling. Nothing bad is happening because the safety is there balancing it out. So both of these things can be active. And what we do is pay attention to both of them. We go back and forth between both of them. Safety, what does that feel like? Defense, what does that feel like? Safety, come back to a check on that. Defense, check on it. And when you do that
That's
back and
cool.
forth pendulation, what happens is that the shutdown or the flight or the fight will start to shift. Self-regulation could happen, and we can actually feel it. We can feel it happening. So that's how I would kind of
That's
apply these things.
super self-awareness then. Like you're
It
giving
is, yeah,
people self-awareness
yeah,
in times when we usually get carried away, right? By
yeah.
the
So instead of here's a coping skill. Here's a way to distract yourself. Here's a whatever. Like, let's actually feel it, and here's how to actually feel it. But we got to work our way up there. It's a difficult thing to do.
That's super interesting. I see behind you, good sir, two books. Those are your books, right?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Is
yeah.
that
Stuck, not
information in
broken. One
there?
and two.
Yes.
The so book one, the blue one is about the polyvagal theory. It connects it to trauma, and then at the end of the book, you write a very short new narrative, free of judgment and blame and shame.
Okay.
So that's book one. Book two is how to build your safety state. It's a bunch of different options, but it also teaches you really deeply about what it feels like, how to identify
Really?
it. Yeah. Yeah. So book two is all about safety. Book three is in the works.
Ooh.
No, yeah, no deadline on it, or no. I thought it'd be out by now, but I've actually tweaked a lot of things. So that is in the works, probably about halfway done with it. And that one will be all about the more mindfulness, meditative, permitting your feelings, just like the word permission that you said was perfect. It's how to give
Okay.
your feelings permission and how to allow self-regulation to happen and stop stopping it. Yeah,
That is amazing. I'm personally I'm honing in on book two. I think I'm going right into book two, and then
going
I'll
straight
come
for
back to book one.
it.
I want to
You could.
practice this so much. And I'll put the links to the books in the show notes, and then we'll talk about you and
Oh,
your
thank you.
website in here in a second.
I
But
appreciate
like,
it.
I so the most recent thing, I'm a guinea pig. I do all
Okay.
this, I'm an ADHD coach. I'm not a therapist. But I am so hungry for this knowledge,
Yeah.
um, that I read I read all your literature, and I guinea pig myself on your modalities. And
That's cool.
this is a really fascinating because I'll tell you that I created a depression protocol for myself because I was like, okay, when you'll probably know the dorsal vagal aspect of this, but this is just the me layman dude
Yeah.
experiencing it, right? And I'm like, in the moment of being at kind of, I would say at my lowest this past few weeks or so, is that I went through all these things. I had self-awareness. I'm like, I'm in a shit mood.
Yeah.
I could go for a walk, I could meditate, I could drink some water, I could exercise, and everything was a big fucking no.
Yeah.
Everything was a huge no. So I was like, you know what I would really appreciate is a checklist of things that are manageable that I could just not even think about. And so I created it and it started with things like roll my wrists, drink a little water, and it built to going on a walk. But here's what I'm
Nice.
thinking. I'm thinking that what the core aspect of all this would be being aware of my feelings while I'm doing this stuff to be
Oh
like,
yeah. Heck yeah.
I'm in a shit mood. I'm not trying to get out of a shit mood. I'm in a shit mood, and I'm rolling my arms. I'm drinking some
Dude,
water. I'm
yeah.
going for a walk. That's it,
So
right? That's the
I think you're like super close. The one thing, and
okay.
you said it, but what the question becomes is when you're rolling your arms or drinking water, what's the intention? If the intention is to get out of a shit mood, I don't blame you, but that's not exactly, it's close, but it's not quite connecting with your body. Because when you
Okay.
connect, when you truly just feel how you feel, your body might say, what I need is just to lay here for a few minutes. Just give me some time to like decompress or lay here and
Yeah.
breathe with true silence.
Dude,
And
Justin,
then
that's
what,
so scary though. Just lay
yeah,
here when I'm down means I'm done for the day. Right? It's so scary for me to throw in with that. I want to be active or something.
but what does your body want?
Oh shit.
That's the question. I know you would
Dude,
like,
it
I'd like to
wants to
have this
shit
thing.
its pants and die.
So go shit yourself and you're good to go. Like the
There you go,
question is
ladies and
what
gentlemen.
does your body want? Your list is
Yeah.
great, and I like the wrist thing is good because it's a small action, and in shutdown, small actions like even wiggling toes,
Yeah.
squeezing your hand a little bit or wiggling. That's just like I can do this. I can do this small action, and once you mindfully connect with it, you might notice that the body starts to mobilize a bit more. So I think you're
Okay.
super close to it. The intention though is really important. Am I doing this to get rid of my feelings, or am I doing this to connect with my body? Once you connect with your body, it will take care of itself.
Okay. What
It
if
knows what to do.
okay. I'm gonna try this, but like
Okay.
what if because I
It's
don't
it's
think
advanced.
that
It's
I'm
not
gonna
easy.
roll yeah, I don't think I'm gonna roll my hands in order to connect with my body. I think I'm going to roll my like wrists as an activity, but during the activity, I could give myself a sort of directive of while I'm doing this, connect with my body.
Sure. Heck yeah, why not?
Is that a way to? Okay, I'm
Yeah.
trying to.
Dude, anything that gets you closer, or anybody, not you, but like anybody, anything that's a
Yeah.
step closer to simply being, go do with it, do it, you know?
Okay.
And I believe that as you do that, you're going to reduce the amount of friction in your brain. You're going to reduce the amount of like, I shouldn't feel this way. If you can reduce that, that's huge. And now all of a sudden you're like, focusing on a movement, but that's a step closer. And now if you can take that movement and ask yourself, well, how does my body feel when I do this? Heck yeah, now we're even closer. So I would say, yeah, run with it. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Awesome. Can I do one thing? Because this is an ADHD audience, and there's so many takeaways here that we've already forgotten. It'll be in the show notes, but give us a challenge. What is a thing that you would recommend us doing to practice something? Um, Give us something to work on this week that we can
I like,
try.
sure, dude. The thing I usually go to is let's try and build safety a little bit. That's always a priority, no
Okay.
matter what just someone's diagnosis is. Let's build safety a little bit,
Yep.
and that's challenging. So one super easy thing to do is, can you give yourself one breath and extend the exhale? That's it. So
Awesome.
once a day, twice a day, I don't care how often you do it, but can you mindfully, not while you're watching TV or on your phone, but
Good
in,
caveat.
yeah, in an actual moment of silence, maybe, or when you're alone, it doesn't matter, but can you give yourself one breath in, and when you breathe out, extend the exhale. That activates the parasympathetic system. It's a little bit safety. Can you breathe out slower than when it came in and just feel it? If you can do that, cool. Now, can you give yourself maybe like, I don't know, 30 seconds of mindfully tasting something, or 30 seconds of touching the bark on your tree outside, or 30 seconds of feeling the air on your face? If you can do that, sweet. Like now, can you take a walk and do this, feel those things mindfully? Like they just kind of build up. So I would
That's
say just
rad.
do one breath. If you have a pet, if you have somebody in your home that you care about and can receive some love from, can you give them a hug? But feel it. Don't just do it, like feel it. Really feel the warmth, from them. Feel the touch, hear their voice. Like pay attention to these things because these are safety activating. So none of my recommendations, these little things, are hugely like. There's no big overwhelming thing to do. There's no hack. I'm just asking you to pay attention to what you already have. Really, that's what it is. Pay
That's
attention to your
awesome.
breath at least once. Pay attention to what it feels like to pet your cat. Pay attention to what it feels like to hug your spouse. That's it. Real simple. These are introductory, like level kind of things.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
And
You're
hopefully, what we
basically
feel is
tricking us into the moment. You're tricking
that's
us
it. Yeah.
into the
Hopefully,
now. You son of a bitch. You
little
did
little
it.
pathway. Gotcha. Hopefully, in these moments, we feel the body just kind of like settling a little bit. That's the goal. Hopefully.
Man, I really appreciate this. This has been
Yeah, dude.
super, super helpful, man. Thank you for coming out. And then,
It's
okay,
fun.
so here's this is all going to be in the show notes, but how do people learn more about you?
Just my website, stucknotbroken.com. That's it. That's the name of my podcast, also, stucknotbroken.com.
Stucknotbroken.com.
Yeah.
Your podcast is mainly on YouTube or
No, it's an audio podcast, and then I added
oh,
YouTube. So now I film myself, and I do talk to the audience. Like I look at the camera, so it's really both. It's friendly for both YouTube and audio, so it's available on audio everywhere. It's just
awesome.
me. It's just me. I don't bring anybody on. I do bring on. There's the Polyvagal expert guy. I brought him on.
Cool. Well, I don't want
But
to come on
really,
your show anyway.
yeah, you're not
Okay.
gonna.
I don't want to be invited. So there, I beat you to it. No, this was super awesome, man.
Right on.
This is really helpful, and I thank you. And
Yeah,
I'm going to look forward to my deep
I
breathing.
appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks for having me on. This is super fun.
Man, I really loved that conversation. Great guy. I've already been implementing the to-dos that he gave us. Alrighty, if you're interested in learning more about Justin and the work he's doing, head over to stucknotbroken.com. That's going to be in the show notes. Check out the work he's doing there. And look at his public resources section. Holy balls. There is a load of free stuff in there. It's beautiful. We have no excuse. None whatsoever. I extra challenge you to peruse that section and engage in one of those resources. I dare you to do it. I'm going to do the 4 wellness buckets. That's one of the things in there. I've already printed it out, suckers. Here's an extra challenge for us. Don't tell Justin we're doing this. Do one of the exercises or print out one of the worksheets and then email him that you did it and tell him, just send him an email. Oh my God. Flood him with emails. Here's what I discovered about myself, Justin. Oh man. And then overshare like a champion adult with ADHD that you are. That would be so funny. Oh my God, let's flood his inbox. Okay, super cool guy. Just the best. Okay, that's it. If you guys got value out of this podcast, please make sure you explore the show notes, click the links in there, and then please share this podcast with anybody that you think would enjoy it. Who needs to learn about polyvagal theory in your world? Share this episode with them. And I thank you. I thank you very much. And with that, I hope you guys have a fantastic week, and I will talk to you later.